Hi guys, I'm a forester here, and yes, there's a new knife in the house. This is a big deal to me. It's a knife that I've been thinking about for a long time. I went ahead and bought it this week from knifeart.com online, and I want to talk about Knife Art just for a second, about their customer service, because I was just so pleased with it. But first, let's look over here. I want to give you a sneak peek of the knife. It's one of those two right there. You know it's a Hinderer because of the title. We'll come back to that in more detail, but first let me just talk about Knife Art. This is the third knife that I've bought from Knife Art, and my experience has been the same each time, and it's been a very positive experience. Two things in particular that stuck out this time. First of all was the speed that the knife came to me. I think it came with free USPS shipping, and I believe it was 5 to 7 business days. I may be slightly off there, but that's roughly what it was. I ordered it on a Tuesday. I was hoping it would come in by the weekend, but I really wasn't counting on it. Well, lo and behold, when I went to get the mail at the post office on Thursday, 2 days later, there was the box. That was a service plus as far as I was concerned. So that's great. Appreciate the speed that you got it to me. The other thing was how well the knife was packaged, and I'm not going to belabor this point. You know I can belabor points, but the quality of the box, the way it was packed inside the box, and the thing that got my attention in particular was a simple little thing, but the way the box was taped. Now I'm not going to belabor that point. Knife Art probably knows what I'm talking about, but that just showed me that they ship a lot of knives and they know their business and they know how to pay attention to the fine details. All right, it's time to show the feature attraction, the knife itself. This was in the box. Let me show you the box first. This is the box, and it's the XM18, the 3.5-inch blade. It's spear point, and that gives away some of the, it's blue. And this was in there, which also impressed me. I believe her name is Amanda, if I can read that correctly. And she hand assembled it and tuned it. You know, that's a plus also. Here's the knife. Okay? Love that color. Now I'm from North Carolina, and North Carolina blue is the state color as far as I'm concerned. That's not exactly North Carolina blue, but you know what? Both the Carolina Tar Heels and Duke Blue Devils are in the NCAA tournament, and that's sort of a blend between those two. So I'm taking this as an omen that one of those two are going to win the tournament this year. Who am I pulling for? Well, maybe a little bit more for Duke than Carolina. I like Duke's team. But let's get back to the main feature of this video, and it's the Hinderer XM18. Love that blue color. I've looked for this knife a lot. This isn't the first knife that I bought though from Hinderer. The first one I bought was this one right here. I think when I reviewed it, I called it a real man's knife. This is the XM24. And the main point I want to make in this video is how these two knives compare, because I was concerned that this one wasn't that much different from a couple other knives that I have, including this one right here. So I went online, I looked at the specs. This is a 3.5-inch blade. You know, I looked at the length of the handle compared to, and I went to my collection and I got any knife that was anywhere close to this knife. Before I made the decision, I held these in my hand. This one and a couple of ZTs and a Benchmade, and a Chris Reeve knife, held them in my hand, made the decision that this was fairly close to a couple of those, so I felt like I knew what it was going to feel like. I had never held one actually in my hand, so I didn't know. Well, when it came, I just want to give you my first impressions. Of course, it's a Hinderer, and it's a quality knife. You know, it's already broken in just from the couple of days that I've had it. I'll give you a couple of views of it. But the first impression that I had was it was a small knife. When I held it in my hand, I went, wow, that's a little knife. You know, I showed it to my wife, of course, and she looked at it and she said, that's a huge knife. So to her, this was a huge knife. But when you compare it to the other knives, a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 an inch here and there make a huge difference. So my bottom line is, you need to hold a knife in your hand before you'll really know whether you're going to like that knife or not. Now the bottom line is, I like this knife. I love it, and it's a great size for just an everyday EDC. I think this one I said was a great EDC, but also a tactical blade. I mean, that's a man's knife. This one, you know, I'll review it. I'll carry it for 2 or 3 weeks and then review it. But I think this is just going to be a nice EDC knife, general purpose knife. Okay, I wanted to show that to you. I was excited about the purchase. And stay tuned. In a week or two, I'll bring you my final thoughts on it. Y'all take care.